Hey guys, welcome back to Creators of the Lost Art. My name is Ron, and today I have a problem. So it's not just one problem. In fact, there's 13 of them. So one thing we didn't realize was that by running the incubator back to back and how fast these little chicks grow, that I don't really have the space to keep them under a heat lamp until they're a couple of weeks old and then harden them off to outside without putting them in with the big girls yet because they're still pretty small. So I've got to come up with a place for these chicks to stay, Unwreck It Ron style. I scavenged this bottom galvanized poop tray from the rabbit hutch that I purchased off Amazon that I wasn't happy with, and I turned it into the quail hutch. We're going to be upgrading that soon too, but I wanted to use this bottom as a slide out tray to make the cleanup a lot easier. They're messy with their food and with their waste. So I had this 1/4-inch hardware cloth left over from a previous project. I really wish I had some 1/2-inch hardware cloth. But I don't, so I'm going to use this 1/4 and we're going to make it work. Cut out these strips of 5/8" plywood, and on the corners, this one's 1.5 inches wide, this is 2 1/8 wide, so that I can overlap. One of you guys can see. So on the side where the tray is going to slide in, I'm going to put the longer one and make legs like this, but then I've got to cut notches out on the front and the back in order to be able to slide the tray, and I'll cut the notches out and put some rails underneath it for a little extra support. But these have got to go up 12 inches above this, so this is going to be somewhere like this, pretty low to the ground, but that's okay. I didn't want to waste a lot of lumber. I just needed space to keep the chicks in. So I made my first mistake, is that I made all of my legs the same, and they actually have to be, the short side needs to be on this side of this board in order to be opposite over there. So that's why I put 2 brads in there. I'm gonna pry it apart, pull those out, reshoot them, and finish framing them. So as I was taking these legs apart, I realized I made my second mistake. And that was that I had not cut my grooves deep enough for my tray to slide in the way that I want to. But sometimes that happens when you're just winging it like I do. The moral of the story is never give up, and I'm not giving up. I'm going to get back to it. Got it this far, but haven't tried the tray. It definitely needs some slides in here to help guide the tray so you're not trying to hold it up and move it around to make it fit in there. So I'm gonna put those in. That'll definitely give it some more strength too. I only put brad nails in it. Once I get it set, I don't plan on moving it. So I don't think that it needs to be screwed together, just in a couple of places to make sure that we got plenty of support for the weight. I'm gonna put those in and then we'll get back on the top. So now I'm going to start adding this wire in the bottom because it's going to be much easier to add with no sides on it. And then also I have the advantage of being able to pull it much tighter. I want it to be relatively tight bottom for when I put the water bowl in there, it doesn't lean. So I'm going to get this on, then cut off the excess before I start putting the sides on because then the sides will make it impossible to get the hardware cloth in. So I know that little chicks like to feel safe and secure, and the best way to do that is to give them an enclosed space where they feel that sense of security. And I'm going to do that by putting this pallet wood that I've already pulled the nails out of on 3 sides and the hardware cloth on the end, just like my other brooder, because I enjoy having the little chicks, peeking out the hardware cloth, watching me while I'm working. I get no other audience. This wood is wet because, like all pallet wood, it was waiting outside for me when I got home. And it's raining if you can't hear. So I'm going to use it. It may shrink a little bit, but I think that'll be okay. I'm going to put it on the sides and then we'll go from there. Okay, so I brought the new chicken brooder down here so that I can get the opinion of the little chicks and they can tell me what I'm doing wrong. Now, like I said, I like for them to watch. Anyways, it was getting too high for me to work on the top comfortably, so I brought it down here a little bit lower. So the next thing I'm gonna do is put this hardware cloth in the front, and I've already cut it to fit and bent the bottom so that I can staple it down on the bottom. And then I'm gonna put this piece in and slide it down to give it some support on the front. But in the meantime, I'm going to put this clamp on it, draw the sides in just a little bit. So as I staple that and I take the clamp off and put the support in there, it'll stretch this wire tight. So I ripped down a 1x4 that I had laying around to 1.25 inches and mitered the corners so that I could create a little frame effect over this hardware cloth and make it look nice. I do have to add some stiles coming right down here because these are not even. It'll help pull the pallet wood in even, but it'll also give me a place here to attach my hinge for my lid that I'm going to build that raises and lowers like this. All right, so for the chicken water, I purchased a while ago. I purchased these. They're called chicken nipples. They're for low pressure application, so you couldn't connect this to your home water source and expect the chickens to be able to drink out of it. But on a gravity fed system, it works well. And the chickens I had years ago, I raised them from little chicks all the way up until they were adult hens, and they used those quite well. Now, I ordered these for the hens, the laying hens that we have now, and I built the larger chicken water out there, and they refused to use them. So I'm thinking if I can start the little chicks out using them, then I can gradually, as they get older, when they move out to the yard with the older hens, then they could learn from the younger ones as long as I've trained them from chicks. Another thing that I wanted to point out, I'm going to be using PVC today, and from years in the HVAC industry and plumbing industry, I know that a lot of people don't think they need to use primer. They just use, a medium PVC cement or just a regular cement or even that blue rain or shine stuff. And I couldn't tell you how many times I've seen after just a few years that the glue gets brittle and breaks down and you have water leaks if you're not using this primer that makes the glue stick to this pipe better. So I'm going to be using primer. That's why I have this piece of scrap OSB plywood down so that it doesn't get on my nice workbench, nice-ish workbench. I don't want purple stains on it. There's already enough markers and things on it. I'm only going to be using 2 chicken nipples because I only ordered 5 of these. These are 1/2 inch PVC to, I think, 1/8 inch threaded, which is what these nipples fit. I only ordered 5 of them because I need 3 for another project. But I'm going to leave it to where I could add more if I find that 2 is not enough for all the chicks to be able to get water. I also want to make it a way that I can, the chicks that we just hatch are very small, and as they grow, I want to be able to raise the height of the water to match them so that they're not having to lay down or bend down in order to drink. They can drink from below. It'll all make more sense once I get it built and put in there. Okay, so I had a little oopsie, no big deal. I cut 3/4 pipe. I don't know why, I just had a lapse of memory for a minute, but I did have some 1/2 inch pipe out there, so I just wanted to recut the pieces. What I wanted to show you is that these little chicken nipples come with an O-ring already installed on them. Now, if yours doesn't have this, you can wrap this with a few rounds of Teflon tape before you thread them in, or even like a blue thread locker will secure it. There's no pressure on it, so as long as it doesn't drip, we should be good. I'm gonna just tighten hand tighten and maybe put a little bit snugness to compress that O-ring when I install these. I'm gonna put this part together. It's gonna look like this. I'm gonna leave this stand pipe, if you will, off of it for now so that I can get it installed, and then I can glue this in from the top. But I've got to make some way to hold this in place that I can raise it up and down as the chicks. So I don't really want to because this turned out so good, but I think my best bet is going to be cut this hardware cloth right here, set this in the corner, that way I can build some sort of block thing on the bag with a knob that I can tighten it down to hold it in place, to raise and lower, and then tighten the knob back down. And in the meantime, this will be underneath the hardware cloth in a slotted piece of wood that will keep it straight with the side. And I think that's going to work out good. Okay, so I've got this piece of 1-inch barn wood, I think it's pine, smells like pine, that I'm going to take this 2-inch hole saw, drill a hole in it, because it slips right over that 1.5 inch PVC pipe, and then I'm going to inset this 1/4 inch nut in it and be able to use this bolt to tighten it down as I raise and lower it, depending on chicken size. So if I remember correctly, this is a very dull bit, so it's a good thing you guys are on time lapse. Okay, so that worked out pretty good. I had no way to drill the hole from this side to press that nut in there. So I had to drill it all the way through, pull it through with the bolt and the washer to flush, and I just put some wood glue in there to kind of create a ring to where it won't pull out. I'm not going to be tightening it down a whole lot, I hope, just to hold that pipe. But get this guy cleaned up a little bit. Get it set on there and we can give it a try. That works well. Paint can cap fits right on there. You never want to put an actual PVC cap on there unless you drill a hole in it, because they will airlock. It'll create a vacuum in there, and the water won't come out of the nipples. Just showing you how they work. The chickens will just peck it, and as they peck it, they'll learn that they get water out of it. When they're not using them, they seal off. They work well. I've used them before. Now, if I could only train these little birds to use them. Okay, so that's it for this project. It's kind of neat. I don't know if I should paint this black to make it look like a chimney for their little house here, but that'd be cool. But I'm gonna leave it the way it is. I may add a feeder, one that kind of hangs on the side here. It has a tray that goes underneath, like the rabbits. But for now, I'm gonna leave their little quart jar feeder in there. They're used to it. They don't waste a ton of feed. I mean, all chickens do, but they're not terrible about it. But all in all, I'm pleased with the way it came out. I think I have exactly $2.67 in this project, and that was the price of that 1.5 inch to 1/2 inch bushing, and then the 1/2 inch cap that's on the end of that. Haven't seen any of them use the nipples yet, but I'm optimistic that they'll learn. They're smart girls. So thanks for watching. If you like, hit the like button, subscribe, and until next time, build something out of pallets.